think about, all I do is daycare. So everywhere I go, I always take something back for the teachers or the kids to watch, or,
Yeah.
give them different experiences and opportunities. And that's
Mhm.
what my life's been about, you
Oh
know.
yes, I totally agree. I think for me personally, I was in corporate America and then I changed over to this business, and this has allowed me some freedom I never thought I would have in terms of
Right.
just traveling and spending time with my son.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So it's time. So let me just start. Hello,
Okay.
Olga, and hello to everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Black Childcare Owners United. I'm doing this purely a volunteer thing. It's just something I want to do. It's not a money-making thing for me. It's just personal, and it's something I always wanted to do. So let me dig right in. First, let me introduce myself. I am Cheryl Brown, and I've been in the childcare industry for over 34 years, believe it or not, in 2 different states. I'm passionate about childcare, about the industry, so I decided to start this Facebook group, and it's specifically for Black childcare owners. However, anyone can join, of course, and it's to give valuable information that you could implement today in your business. Okay, so let me just read the purpose of the group. The purpose of this group is to provide a safe and supportive space for licensed Black childcare owners to connect, share knowledge and resources to help grow and improve their centers. Members can ask questions, seek advice, and share best practices on topics like accounting, like we have Olga today, expansion, and common issues. We'll also invite guest speakers to address special challenges and provide expert insight. Our goal is to help members enhance their childcare vision, overcome obstacles, and thrive in their childcare business. Today, I have Olga here with me from GEM Accounting and Tax, LLC. I met Olga a few years ago, and after our conversation, I knew she was just genuine. She has a heart, a passion for what we do, and she wants to help us. She gave me valuable information on how to organize my accounts so that I can operate profitable, which is important in the childcare business or any business. And at the same time, take care of my employees and take care of myself, because a lot of times in our business, we neglect ourselves. Okay. She's not only an accountant, but Olga is also a tax strategist. So we'd like to welcome you, Olga, to Black Childcare Owners United. Global connection. I want this to be global because we all share the same thing globally. We have centers that, and we have accounting issues. We have legal issues. We have issues with the state, with all their rules and regulations. So this will be a safe place for us to share ideas. And so, Olga, I would like for you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about your business, and then we'll dig right into our 3 questions for today, because I don't want to waste your time. I know you're a busy entrepreneur.
Well, thank you very much, Cheryl, for the wonderful introduction. So, like you said, I am a CPA, and very early on in my practice, I decided to niche in the area of childcare. And the reason for that was because at the time, I'm a mother. At the time, my son was about a year and a half, and I was really struggling with getting reliable childcare. And who was there to save the day for me? It was a childcare owners. It was a particular center near my home, and they were so willing to work with me. In the beginning, I had him on half days, and then eventually I had an emergency and I called up the center, can he come for the full day for this week? And they were like, yes. And the funny part was that he did much better as a full-time student than as a
Wow.
part-time.
Okay.
So because on full day, he was always looking forward to being picked up after, after a couple of hours. But with full-time, he started relaxing, making friends. But all in all, My passion is because you all enabled me to focus on my career, and which is being a CPA, and I'm
Nice.
forever grateful. Not only that, I understand the need for childcare. And anybody who's been around for the last 4 years knows how childcare was so important during the pandemic,
Oh, yes.
when we had to have essential workers still go to work, the doctors, the firefighters, and they had somewhere safe for their kids, and that was because of childcare. And I'm sure even the state governments, the local governments understand the importance of childcare. I am a CPA, as I've said. I've been an accountant for, I don't know, donkey years. I first started in corporate America, and then decided to go into private practice. And mainly, this decision was driven by my child. I wanted to spend more time with my baby. As much
Yeah.
as I appreciate, the provision of childcare, you as a parent, your obligation is to nurture and raise your child. And with
Amen.
my hours and lack of flexibility in my previous job, I needed something that could work around my schedule, and that's where I started the business. I love working with childcare owners. A lot of them are female, and
Yes.
there's something about working with women who want to succeed and also do the right thing.
Right.
So of course I do taxes, and taxes can be subjective. Okay, you can write off everything under the sky if you're very
Yeah.
aggressive. But as a CPA, it can make me very uncomfortable if we're being too aggressive. A
Mhm.
lot of owners of childcare, just because of their nature, they're interested in doing the right thing.
Of
Just
course.
filing, pay whatever their fair share is, but do it right. I
Mhm.
come in to help you not tip the IRS. So I know you want to do the right thing, which is good for me and my license, but at the same time, I don't want you overpaying. And that is why I'm passionate about helping owners of childcare programs.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. I agree. So let's dig right into our questions. So our first question is, how can I optimize my childcare business for tax efficiency and compliance?
That is a very good question. Believe it or not, the most simple answer is keep good records.
Whoa.
Okay. I know it's boring, it's tedious, but I would like to encourage every business owner, and particularly business owners in the childcare industry. Let's figure out a way for you to keep these good records. You can automate it, take advantage of any kind of automation that you have available. When you're first starting out, you might not want to invest a lot of money into a software. That is okay. How
Mhm.
about you use Google spreadsheets? Just track those numbers, right?
Oh,
Keeping good records will enable you to have whatever the write-offs you need to make at the end of the year when you're filing your taxes. You work very hard. You're the one that's taking all the risk. If you have a center with employees, if somebody calls up, guess who's sitting in the classrooms when somebody's called out? It
right.
is you. Who is taking all the risk? It is you. When a parent comes and sues your business, who has to take the fall? It is you as the business owner. So what I want you to do is to make sure you're protecting your business by keeping really good records. Okay? So that makes tax planning, tax preparation a breeze. The other thing that I'd like to bring about is, what if you got a grant, right?
Mhm.
You get a good grant, you're fortunate to get that grant, but at some point the grantor would want to know, how did you spend this money?
Right.
Having a system of tracking these types of expenses helps you even qualify for more grants, because they know that in your center, you use those funds for the purposes that were intended, whether it's
Right.
expanding payroll, whether it's investing in new curriculum or equipment. You are spending this money for the purposes for which it was intended. So keeping good records is so important. Another way that keeping good records can help you is for items such as mileage. Okay, if
Right.
you
I was going to ask that about the mileage. How do we keep records with the mileage, and what do we qualify to write
okay,
off with the
oh,
mileage?
that's a good question. So a lot of times, if you have a home office, and especially in this day and age where 50% or a good percentage of the work we do, okay, when you're in childcare, maybe 20% of the work you do could be home-based, right? The fact that you have a home office actually enables you to track your mileage, okay? So the IRS says you can't write off commuting miles. So when you have a home office, guess what your commute is? From your bedroom to the home office, that's taken care of. But mileage, business mileage, therefore becomes mileage from your home office to the center, mileage from your home office to conferences, or when you're going to buy supplies, if you happen to go to the licensing office, those are miles that you can track. I would recommend that you use an app on your phone. Just Google mileage tracking apps and use whichever you find reasonable. I personally use Mile IQ. I have no association with
I
that
love them.
company.
I like you. Yeah, I
Yes,
use the same.
it's a matter of swiping, whether it's a business or a personal
Right. Yeah.
expense.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, actually, my Mile IQ prompted me to enter my mileage at the beginning so that, these are records that are verifiable. When it comes to tracking auto expenses, especially when you're using your personal vehicle, part of your personal vehicle, part for business and personal use, the IRS wants to know, please give me some proof that you use this vehicle for business. And the best way to track this is mileage expenses, just getting your mileage right. Okay. So again, we're back to apps. Get anything that can help you automate this. If people are dating using apps, why not use this mile, these apps to track our mileage?
Yes.
So very important to track your numbers. I would also say if you want to optimize your childcare for tax efficiency, think local, okay? When your business is registered, probably registered, locally with the state, make sure that you are compliant. Make sure your business is in good standing, okay? Again, also, the fact that you're filing your taxes on a regular basis is one way of being compliant. So when the time comes for you to renew your license, or you're applying for a loan, you have all your ducks in a row. You know that you won't be hampered by the fact that your business is not in good standing. Oh, I didn't file 2019 taxes. I have to go back and recapture all that information. 2019 is a long time ago. And so you might forget some valuable write-offs, right? The last thing you want to do is guess when you're dealing with your taxes. One last thing is for tax efficiency, it's very important that you understand what your entity structure is. And what do I mean by this? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you a single member LLC? Are you in a partnership? Very important to know this. Why? Because the tax return, that business portion of your tax return that you're going to file, is driven by your entity structure. So you do not really want to be filing as a partnership, but you're an S corporation. How do you find this out? Call the IRS. Give them an EIN number.
Nobody wants to call IRS.
Get me to call the IRS for you, but really make that call, that scary call, and say, "Oh, this is the EIN number. What entity structure do you have me on?" They will let you know. And if you want to change it, maybe that will be the time to change it. Or when you incorporated, when you got all those organizational papers, what did you agree with your lawyer or the company that set you up? Very important to know that. Very important. There are penalties for non-filing. So imagine if you've been filing as a sole proprietor, but all this time you've been an S corp. By the IRS, the S corp never filed, and then there'll be failure to file penalties. So best to get that information and understand what it is in the beginning so that you can be consistent.
I wouldn't imagine, for me, I couldn't imagine not filing,
wonderful.
It would
That's why I love you guys.
That would be too much for me. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep.
There's some people who just go about their business and never file, no records whatsoever. And I tell you, that's why I love this industry. Just that that passion and that need to do the right thing. Okay.
Right,
And in my experience with working with the IRS, they look for that. They look for,
right.
are you sincere? Did you attempt to do these taxes? Then we can, if there's penalties and fees, you can negotiate with them. But you have to
Okay,
show your sincerity.
right. So we'll move on to our next question is, what are the specific tax deductions available for childcare businesses?
Oh,
Because
okay.
and also I know there are a lot of childcare businesses that are still operating manually and they're still taking cash. And I just think it's so much cleaner if you do everything by paying online. Everything is so much cleaner. So get rid of that cash because that's dangerous.
That
So
is
what are the
very
specific tax deductions available for childcare businesses? Thanks.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's also another good question. But before we move forward to that, may I recommend that if you're running your business, whether it's a proprietary or you're just starting out, I would like to recommend that you have a separate bank account.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely,
just
definitely.
even if you don't have a bookkeeping system, just put everything there, right? That way you log into your bank account and you know how much money is sitting there. That's not commingled with your
Right,
personal,
right.
right? So just keep that in mind. Consider having a separate bank account just so that you can have a sense of what your business is doing. To your question, the specific tax deductions, the childcare business is unique, and especially if you have a home daycare,
Right.
because you get a really, really generous deduction from the IRS. It's called the time space calculation for your home daycare. So,
Mhm.
whereas people like myself only get to deduct the space that I use for my office as a percentage of my whole entire home, you get to deduct, and my deduction will be between 8 to 10%, right? But when you have a home daycare, because your kids are occupying maybe your
What about for
basement,
a center also?
a center, you can still get your home deduction, but that could be based just on the office that you
Okay,
maintain in your own home,
okay.
right? So don't forget, if you're a child, if you're a home-based center, you have a more generous deduction. Sometimes it's 40, 50%. And again, important to keep these good records because it is actually based on the square footage of how much you use your home for business and also the utilities, the rent, the mortgage, the
Mhm.
taxes. So if you don't know at the end of the year how much you're paying for electricity, and you're going to the tax professional and say, I think it's $20 a month, and it could be 40 or 50, right? Or you could have had a month when you overpaid and or there was a surge and you paid more. But if you're just going with guesses, sometimes you kind of disadvantage yourself by not having these good records. So home office deduction is unique in terms of childcare. Now, the IRS says that you should deduct the expenses that are regular for your industry. So, for example, a doctor might not have the same expenses as a childcare. When I look at childcare expenses, I look at four broad categories. The
Right,
first one for me is usually payroll, especially when you're in a center. That's going to be your largest expense, of
right.
course, because you want to take care of your employees, make sure they're well compensated. You might also have certain benefits like healthcare, retirement, depending on whether or not your budget allows. The
Mhm.
second broad category that I come across is facility expense, your rent. If you own the building, are you paying mortgage and those kinds of expenses? That's usually the second one. So that is expected from your industry. Make sure you're tracking these numbers and you get that write-off.
Production, okay.
Third one is the curriculum, the program expenses. So the food, okay? And I'll just plug this in. If you can, if your state allows it, and you are capable, if you actually qualify to provide to participate in the food program, go for it. It
Right,
will only lower your net expenses, right? We all know we're in business. We're not, a lot of times, if you're a for-profit organization, you do want to report a profit at the end of the
right.
year. So
Of
you do
course.
want, to make sure that you can take advantage of opportunities such as these. Lastly, it's admin expenses. That's where you have your consulting, some meals, travel, advertising. So just make sure that you are capturing all these expenses. These are expenses that you're entitled to write off. And that's why I always go back to the basic boring stuff. track your numbers, please.
Track your
Right?
numbers. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, that is so important. I know from being in the childcare industry, it was a challenge to track my numbers, but
Mm-hmm.
as what you remember, I've been in it for over 34 years. So
Yes.
things have changed.
Yes.
You can automate things now. It
You can
makes life so much easier. Don't worry
Yes.
about the pay. I'm like I said, I'm still surprised that people are using
Mm-hmm.
journals and writing in journals.
Yes, yes. Imagine how much time it'll take to track how many meals, how many snacks,
No, 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 that's
breakfast,
too much. No, no.
afternoon. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
that's
there's
too
a lot
much.
of software out there. There are many CRMs that can
Yes.
accommodate even the smaller childcare facility. So take advantage of that because your focus. If I'm a parent and I feel like you're spending 80% of your time on tracking little pieces of numbers, I want
Mm,
you to focus on my child. I want you to focus on the
right.
kind of
Right.
nurture, right?
And
And
running a
so
profitable center. Yes.
exactly. So knowing these numbers is important. If you can get a way to notify the parent that they missed the payment this Friday
Hmm.
without you having to have that uncomfortable conversation,
Right. Right.
use it. Those apps like the CRMs, they're not just there to take pictures of the children because as parents, we love it, but it's also to track your staff hours, right? Your staffing timesheets, track how much you're getting paid, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes you might even be on subsidy, but within that subsidy, there's a copay. So even
Mhm.
if the copay is 15 to 20 to $30,
Need to
you add
track
it.
it.
You need that you
Yes.
track and you find a way to receive it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of these CRMs are connected straight to your bank account, your
Hmm.
business bank account. Please don't use your personal account, right? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna get some reporting forms like it's a form 1099K that tracks all the money you receive. All this money important to track, right?
Right.
Just need to
Right.
know how much money you're going to make. You work way too hard. Being a childcare provider is not an easy task. And even
Right.
if you have the physical ability to do it, you have to have the nurturing, mindset. It's
Right.
not for everybody, and you deserve
Yeah.
to be.
And I found that over the years, I started with I'm not plugged in any particular software, but I started with ProCare when they first started.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
to put the disk in and save our information every day. So every day, we
Mhm.
had like 5 disks that we had to put in every single night to
Wow.
save all the information for the day. But now
Yeah.
things are on cloud-based, so you can pull it up
Yes.
on your cell phone. And I
Yes.
found that I left ProCare,
Hmm.
although I still love them,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I went over to this One Core. That's the name of it, One Core, and
Hmm.
using it, you use it to keep you in compliance with the state.
Okay.
So it had
Yeah.
this one feature that
Yeah.
for Florida that I loved,
Yeah.
that I
Hmm.
absolutely love. And I spoke with the owner about it. I said, you know what? This
Hmm.
one feature that you have keeps me
Hmm.
in compliance
Hmm.
all the time. Never
All
have
the
a
time.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is important to automate your business and keep track of everything.
I totally agree. I
Yeah.
agree with you. Yes.
The third question we have, and our last question for today
Mhm.
is, how often should I review my financial statements and tax planning for my childcare center?
Okay. So as far as financial statements, if you're like me, you'd review them every day. I want to see that
I
check
mean,
in the
we're
back
up
of
till
your
12 o'clock already. We don't, 12 midnight, we're still up,
it's
so
check
yeah.
it. Okay. You have bills to pay to run
Right.
this operation. And it's important that you put in place that automation to collect
Hmm.
the tuition, and then that you're also able to pay your employees,
Right.
right? And when you pay them within reason, then you're able to provide that quality care that you promised to your parents. So looking at the money part, it's not a dirty word. It's an important tool in running your business because ultimately, when you look at why did you get into childcare, right? money is a tool that will allow you to meet that goal. And that is how I look at it. So for me, I review it every day, but I would, maybe that's an overkill. But I want you to have a sense of how much money you're making on a monthly basis, right? I can tell you that you can be so successful, but that by December you're panicking, like, how much tax am I going to owe?
Right.
Just because the
And
number.
that's the key
Yeah,
right there, because I remember you
mm,
showing me how
yeah,
to take care of that situation. So I'll
yes,
never have to panic about tax.
exactly. Oh,
Right?
yes,
So,
yes.
everybody out there, if you're
Uh-huh.
listening or if you watch this after, you need
Yeah.
to contact Olga, because she was the person who showed me, after
Mhm,
all these years of being in child care,
mhm,
doing it my own way, and
mhm.
it was good. It was almost the same way you taught me,
Yeah.
but actually the way you showed me how to organize my business, I know
Yes.
exactly how much is profit. I know
Yes.
exactly how much
Yes.
is for taxes for the year. So I
Absolutely.
was never panicking, you know.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a good thing. And I mean, any accountant should be able to show you that, right? But
Mhm,
I think you being in our industry and
mhm,
specializing,
mhm.
you know exactly what to tell us to do.
Absolutely. The minute you tell me what your enrollment numbers are and which state you reside, I can have a sense of what your numbers should be. And one more thing that I may add here is that it doesn't hurt to have a system where you're setting aside just a little bit of the money that you make, just a little bit of your profit that will go towards your taxes. When you work with a good accountant, they'll work with you to make sure that you don't overpay. But you might still end up owing. So maybe you could have owed 10, but now the accountant got you down to 5, but you gotta have the 5, right? And so it's important to just have a system of managing that cash flow so that you're going to owe, you don't want to overpay, but when the time comes, you're not sweating bullets coming up with the money that you need to pay. So
I
that's
agree.
that's
Yeah.
very important.
And
So
also, I think it's important for people to understand how to diversify their money. So
true.
you're in the childcare industry. So
Hmm.
of course you should have a portion put aside to diversify into whatever else, the stock market, real estate, whatever
Hmm.
you want to get into. So you, of course, can show them that
Hmm.
road on how to diversify so
Yeah.
that you'll be confident and you'll feel comfortable with
Hmm.
your lifestyle. And we're all getting older.
Yes.
So you have to set an exit strategy,
Yes,
you
indeed,
know?
indeed. Yes, I've seen a lot of childcare owners, once they've hit a certain threshold, a lot of them are interested in real estate. And not just real estate where they dwell, like personal residences, real estate in terms of the building that houses the childcare. A lot of them, move on to actually owning those buildings,
Right.
right? And you can set it up so that the childcare is yet another tenant. The childcare business is a tenant,
Is
and
a
you
tenant. Exactly.
create income
Yeah.
that way. So yes, diversification, huge, huge, huge. And like you said, at some point, the older we become, the more passive income we want to rely
Need
upon,
passive income, right?
right? Yeah, so figuring out a way to invest in different avenues is huge, and especially when women do it. I'm
Mhm.
passionate when women do it. Why? Because I just feel that when a woman earns money, the whole family benefits. And nothing against men. Men are good providers. But sometimes you have situations where it is the woman who's the main breadwinner, and they will make sure
Mhm.
the whole family benefits from that. So very important that you manage your money.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that information. And Olga, could you please tell everybody how they could get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Olga Odiambo. Just I'm on Facebook. I have a Twitter or X account. I'm also on YouTube. Just Google childcare CPA. That's me. And I just want to say thank you to all providers. What you do is amazing. And I don't know whether you realize it, but even the government really is beginning to understand how important
About time.
it's about
About time. About time. Because
time.
I'm
Yes.
telling you, yes,
Uh-huh.
about time they understand that this is a necessary industry. Without
Yeah.
childcare, if we decide to shut down for a
Yeah.
day. Just imagine if the childcare industry all over the world, globally,
That
decides
is
to
amazing.
shut down for a whole day. What would
That's
happen?
amazing. The
Yeah,
whole world would stop. Women
the
would
whole
not
world
come
would
to work.
stop. Of course.
Incomes would be cut into half just because we are not able to work, and that could be a tragedy. So
Yeah.
childcare, I shout out to all of you guys that wake up every day and take care of our children. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we need more platforms
Mhm.
addressing issues and
Yeah.
have real ways to implement things immediately. We need to implement things immediately. So this is January 2024. Contact
Yeah.
Olga or speak with your current accountant, and if they
Yeah.
can't help you, contact Olga. And she has consultation, so
Yeah.
you'll feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And you do it online also.
Yes, I do. I do online as well.
Right. All right.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you.
Thank you
Thank
as well.
you. All
Mhm.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, being a part of this group, being a part of Black Childcare Owners United, Global Connection. Share the word. Tell everybody about us. Next month, we'll have another guest on, and have a wonderful 2024. Have a wonderful day. Bye.